Hi everyone, I'm Holly D, and today we're going to be making bass like this
You know how we get.
and like this. Like this.
You know how we get.
Okay, so let's get straight into it then. All right, so yeah, let's have a quick listen to it first. We'll go through this whole little thing I put together that we're going to be going over today.
You know how we get. You know how we get.
So what I'm going to do is start off with the sub bass because this is how this this sound is made. It's going to be with a sub that's layered with the mids. So yeah, the inspiration behind this was the sound from the track K Motionz and Simula Phantasm. And what I've done is I've just taken a part where it's just a sub on its own, just to have a look at how the sub looked in span. So if I just open up span, try and ignore this other stuff here and just look at this. I'll just play the sub from Phantasm. What I've done is I've cut all the other frequencies out so you can just only see the sub. You can see there's the harmonics that are in the sub from Phantasm. So what I try to do is replicate that. And even this, like, something I noticed it has is this little wobble. You can see it's moving up and down. So when I originally made the sub, I didn't have that there. So I've also just added that in. So let's start with recreating that. So the notes for the actual tune was D sharp to D, but I've just gone from E to D sharp in my version. So yeah, how did I do this? So this is the sub. I'll play the sub on its own. Let me just, yeah, it's just span on there. So it's just a frequency analyzer. There's no processing on the actual sub. So yeah, let's open up span and I'll show you how I made it. So I've just basically got a sine wave, as you can see here, from the basic shapes. And I've just used the pen tool to edit the harmonics that I put into the sine wave. So I've just basically, so bin 1 will be the fundamental sub range. That's probably about 40 hertz, right? Yeah, for E. And then I've just plotted in, you know, bin 2, bin 3, bin 4, up to about bin 6, just to get the same levels on this, where the harmonics sat in the sub from Phantasm, just to kind of match it up, just to have a nice sort of foundation to build the mids off of. Because I'm pretty sure that that's how it's actually made. When you look at it in the frequency analyzer, you can see the separation of the two sounds, the mids and the sub. So I've taken the same approach essentially, and that's all it is for the sub. There is nothing else on that. I've just level matched it. If you have a look at span here, you know, this is on my fast mode. I'll put it on hold. So it's like minus 3 dB with these settings here. But yeah, pretty simple on the sub. Let's have a listen to this mid bass with that now. So this was, you know, I didn't want to create the exact sound. That would, you know, be tedious trying to do that, if it's even possible. But I just wanted to come up with sort of my own sort of idea based around the sound. So yeah, let's have a little listen. So that's the sound. And what I'll do is I'll turn all of the processing off on this channel. I've called it mid 1. So let's just put it in red for now, so we can see what we're working on. Yeah, let's open up span because I like to show you the frequencies and the way I've plotted this to make this sound. So I'll take off everything that I'm not using just so we can start from oscillator A. So I'm going to take the filter off and the noise part off, and I'm going to turn off these effects. So I've got LFO 1 over 1 bar triplet rate on trigger mode. And that's just to create the stab sort of shape for this sound. Because what I've done is with the MIDI, you can see I've just programmed the notes in to get my sort of rhythm for the stabs. So what I did is I had a look at Phantasm and was looking at the sort of where the frequencies was in that bass. And what I've done, I've followed the same concept that I did with a sub. Excuse me. I've got a basic, just a sine wave again from Basic Shapes. And I've taken bin 1 off, so the fundamental sub part of it. And I've just started to plot in where the frequencies were sitting. So I had bin 9, bin 11, 20, and 31, and I've just kind of put them there to get this sort of shape here, which was quite, it's quite similar to what was in the track. So that was my basis. That was my starting ground, foundation for this mid bass. And what I've done then is I've just added a bit of noise on it. And you can see like the LFO1 is going from 0 to 4.3 dB, 0 to 4.3. Let me just go in the matrix and show you that actually to be a bit more precise. LFO1 to noise level is 75 and to LFO1A is 100%. So it's going all the way up. Yeah, so that's just to shape that. I think that is also on oscillator B, but that's not being used, so we can remove that. So let's put some tube soft clip actually on, and I've driven that all the way, full mix on. So you can hear the noise is now getting distorted with those frequencies. And let's put the chorus in just to add a little bit of stereo width into the sound, so that when we start to make it wider in the post-processing, there's already a little bit of stereo width there. It's not going to be really noticeable. And the same with this reverb. Oh, get rid of that. Same with this reverb. It's not going to be too noticeable, but it is going to add a little bit of stereo width in there. This EQ was really pointless. But yeah, you can see like the mix is 9. The wet is 20. Mix is 26 there. You can see the settings here. Feedbacks are like 64. It's quite, it's quite basic stuff. Not too much really going on inside of here. But where the sound starts to come together is FM from B doesn't need to be on that. Actually, we can take that off. Is the pitch is actually up on the noise by 66. It's the ring mod filter. So yeah, you can hear that's really creating more character to the sound. It's making it more full fat. So the cut-off's at 2152, and I've put the little key track on. And I think that helps keep the the filter in pitch. The drive is up to 50%, and the resonance is up 55. The mix is up 75. So that's what's really pulling this sound together. And what I'm going to do now is show you the post-processing. So first off an EQ, let's put span at the end of the chain. And as you can see, I'm just cutting it off around about 233 hertz. I'm just making 2 little dips here. It's not a lot. These are just there because of their frequencies that were a bit too loud in the mix. So the main thing that was going to now make this sound come together more was creating a bit more stereo width and making it a bit more wider and sound a little bit more fatter. And the way I've done it is I'm going to show you a couple ways because you might not have UAD plugins, but I really like this K Stereo plugin. It is like it's like a stereo widener, but it also like recovers ambience and creates some sort of depth to the sound. So what I've done is I've put these 3 modes on here: recover, deep, wide, and just pushed it by 5 dB. And then I pushed the mids by 3 dB, and I'll show you what that does. But if you don't have that, what I'm going to do is show you, something else you could do. So let's turn that off, and I'm just going to bring over this EQ here, because this is that mid boost of 3 dB, basically. There we go. Sorry, I've been really ill today. I've got a really horrible cough. So yeah, let's put that there. And then I'm going to bring over this chorus. So, this is really cheap, this chorus as well. I think it's like a tenner. It's really good. I like the sound of this chorus. And I'm just using the short verb SOI preset. I brought the mix down, turned the filter up a little bit to about filtered down from where it was. So it's at 689 hertz now. Feedback's been brought down a bit from this preset as well. So yeah, this is going to now sort of like replicate what the UAD was doing a little bit. You might even add a short reverb in there if you want to try and get more of what that's doing. But let me just show you now without the UAD on. Yeah, and let me turn them off. So you can see it's quite close. It's quite. I think the UAD one adds a bit more thickness in the mids and the low mid frequencies. Maybe it's boosting more side information there, which you could probably do with this EQ actually. I think that's what it might be doing. It might be boosting a bit of side information extra here. But yeah, that's basically what the processing is to get this sound. And let's have a listen in context. So yeah, the last thing I've done on that is just put a clipper on it. Let me open that up. But yeah, that's everything there. So I've just gonna I've just put the clipper on K-clip as well, and then I've turned it down by like 5.6 dB. The last bit of processing I've got on this is an effects channel, which I'm sending all these mids through to actually. So I'm just going to play that to you. It's really subtle, but what it's adding is like a little bit of texture over it. So if I just turn it off now. And what that is a plugin called Dumpster Fire by Freak Show Industries. I think you can get it for free. You can get it for free. It's pretty cool actually. And it's like a pitch shifter / chorus. It's really hard to understand what it's doing. But I've just turned these two down and just brought the value down by like just a little bit here. Just to give it this sort of like weird texture that's been pitched down a little bit. And then I've got an EQ on the send effects just to sort of like focus it in around about 1.5K with a little boost at 10K. So yeah, that's pretty much everything with that sound. Let's have a look at the other one, because that was made with the exact same sort of like Serum patch in mind. It was made from the same Serum patch essentially. Yeah, let's. So it's once again, it's the same processing. You can see it's the exact same EQ as last time. I'm using the UAD, but you can use the chorus and the EQ boost in the mids. So I don't need to show you the extra presets for that. I've just got one oh wait, that is, we don't need that. That was the placement and the K clip. So all the post processing is exactly the same as the last patch. And as you can see, I've just moved these harmonics around a little bit. So I think bin 9 was lower and bin 11 was higher before. So I've just moved them around a little bit to get a sort of different tone. And I'm using a comb filter. Let's have a look at that. So we have got some FM from B actually this time. So let me take off oscillator B. So that's actually making up quite a lot of this sound. So let's take off that filter because before we didn't have that on. LFO3, LFO1, which is shaping the levels, is shaping the level of oscillator B, oscillator A, and the noise. It's the same as the last patch, except we've now got a little bit of oscillator B in. And the rate's over 1 for triplets, trigger mode, and it's just this shape to create the stab this time. Let's put this oscillator B on now. So it's a sine wave oscillator B, and I've just pitched it up by 7 semitones. So let me just show you this on span. Let's get span up. So you can see there's those harmonics that I've put into the first oscillator. And this is getting FM from sub. So if I turn this sub off, you can hear all the textures going. So I'm getting the texture from the FM from sub, which is then FM from B. So I think I've got this on at like 56, and this one's on at like 14. So if I just take that off. And then you can hear that sort of like scratchy texture gets added over to the oscillator. In terms of the effects, they're exactly the same again as the first patch. I'm not using that. So the effects are the same. There's the matrix. I'll just show you this. So it's LFO1 to oscillator A, full 0 to 100. Oscillator B is at 17. So it's just adding a little bit in there. And 75 on the noise. And then the last thing is the comb. which you can hear is tying it all together again. And I've got the mix at 60, the damp at 100, drive at 41, and the cutoff at 339, and the resonance at 55, 54. So yeah, that's what's creating this sound. And if you if you was to move this cutoff, you can get some variations. The same with that ring mod on the first patch. And yeah, that's pretty much how these basses are made. I'm just trying to have a look to see what else we got. We got this one here, which is just a change in the comb filter. As you can see, I've just made the comb filter look like this. Everything else is exactly the same on this patch as the other one. And I think this patch here is exact same as that one. This is just reverb to like tail it out. So I just put a, let's open that up. I just put Echo Boy and Valhalla Room on it instead of the UAD one. And I think I did that. I just wanted to show you, you can probably get the same effect. I'll take the reverb off. So yeah, I just wanted to show you that I could also try and get the same effect with the delay, with the Echo Boy delay, or with any delay actually, as the UAD. You know, you could put that another EQ on that boosts the mids by 3 dB and try, instead of a chorus, a delay with a short time. So like 22 milliseconds, a little bit of feedback, half dry, wet. That can get you some close results to what the UAD precision thing's doing as well, I think. You know, it's just adding some stereo width and a bit of width to the sound. But yeah, that's why that Echo Boy's there. But yeah, the main thing on this channel was just to add a bit of reverb, full mix, just so it's like it's just a reverb sound to bring it out. And then we go back into the new sound, which is this one. Let's play that. Oh, let's actually get them playing.
You know how we get.
Yeah, so this one here, this is the last sound I want to go over. And I'll probably go over those, I'll go over these other ones, the ones in green, in another video, because they're quite different, and that will take up quite a lot of time. So yeah, let me show you this one. So let's have a look at the thing here. What this is again, I turn that off. That's not needed. They're not on. This here is just a duplicate of the first patch. It's exactly the same. There's no changes to the patch. So I'll put the patch in the in the description so you can download that and play around with it. And what I've done is really gone into the processing a bit more on here. So let's show you that, because it's obviously, if I turn this processing off, let's just say we left on the stuff we had on originally, which were these. That will now sound like how we had it. And what I've done is I've used Dumpster Fire again, and I've turned the pitch up a little bit this time. So that gets me this new pitch effect. But now it's quite, I would say it's a bit too wide. And if I mono it, I don't know if you'll actually hear that. But yeah, when I mono it, I lose a little bit of intelligibility, if that's the word, from the sound. So what I'm using here on this channel, and I do this when a sound's not like mono compatible, or there's too much width, and I just need to like sort the top end out of the mid side, the mid channel, should I say, to keep the texture and the actual like intelligibility of the sound. I use this this plugin. It's like a little trick, and I've done a video on my Patreon if you want to go over there and watch that in a bit more depth. But it's what it does is it chooses either the left or the right channel to become the mono signal, and it will create a mono signal. So if I just turn off that stereoizer, the UAD precision again, you'll hear now that the signal was mono. And if I turn it off, it'll become stereo. But you can hear it's really, really wide because of what that Dumpster Fire is doing. It's a bit much for a sound on its own, I find. So I like to bring it back to mono and choose one side, which has the best sort of like character, which is right in this case, right to mono. This is an Air Windows plugin. So if you want to hunt around on the internet for the Air Windows, just give that a Google. And I think they have it's like 50 plugins and they're all free. So download them. But yeah, so I've monoed it now. And now I'm just going to use the precision, UAD precision again, K stereo, to bring the stereo width back into it. So if you don't use this, you could use Ozone Imager. Um, so yeah, if say you don't have this, I think you can get Ozone Imager for free. You could do this and add stereo eyes on to stereo, create some stereo um, delay, basically, I think is what it does between the channels. And then just bring this width up to create that. But yeah, I've opted for the UAD plugin. So that's how this sound gets made, and then it's all laid up with a sub. So you get something like this. Oh yeah, obviously the last thing I've done is actually use Shaperbox Free just to kind of shape now, because with the dumpster fire, what it does is it does add a lot of like bleed with the chorus sort of effect. So this Shaperbox, what I've done is I play the sound, and I'm just basically taking the volume down at the ends of the stabs to sort of like sharpen them up. I could go like full like this to make it even more precise, and it'd give it that sort of feel like it's not bleeding too much. A bit more stuttery. I think that was a bit too much, but I feel like this here was just halfway. So essentially, what it's doing is dropping the volume by 50% when it gets to the end of the sort of like stabby sound, and it's just making them a bit more sharper and a bit more precise. They don't just sound like a big blob of sound then. Yeah, it's subtle, but it really does help, and it will give you some space in the mix, stuff like this. But yeah, that's everything I think I want to go over with these sounds here. I'll go over some of these other ones in another video. But yeah, if there's any questions, what I'm going to do is I'll leave the couple of these presets in the description for you to download and play around with if you want to. I'll put the sub in there in the two different patches we've got in from Serum. If you've got any questions about any of this, just leave a message in the comments. Same as if you've got any video ideas or production, sound design ideas, etc., that you want me to go over. I'll try my best to get that done. But yeah, if you like the video, hit like. If you want to see more like this, subscribe, because I'll definitely be getting more up soon. And yeah, if you want more videos, production, tutorials, or exclusive track sample packs, support me over on Patreon. I'll leave the links below.